Hello everyone, I'm River Fox and welcome to the channel. Now you may remember last week that I did post a video out on a zero damage build that I was working on. Now I did have a load of issues with that. I spent so much time, effort, traps, materials and everything on that build that for the time being I've left that. I have now built a full damage build with defender pads, damage traps, everything to complete the endurance. Now I have finally completed the full 30 waves Canny Valley Endurance. It wasn't a full-on AFK endurance by any means. You will have to run around and replace traps and place base down, things like that. But I'm going to take you through the build now of what I have set up now for the Canny Valley Endurance. If you are interested in seeing the actual run of that, it will be quite a long, lengthy video. I will be posting that later on. There is no audio commentary with it, but I'll sort something out to go in the background of that video. So do check out for that when it comes out. But this is going to be just the build for the Canny Valley Endurance. Now ignore all of this from here at the moment, because in all the runs that I have done, I have only, well, mainly they only ever start off from the south or from the west. And a couple of runs I did get a second attack on the main storm shield, but very rarely and generally they only came from the south. So pretty much I would say everything from this point upwards never got even touched during my runs. So this is basically what I have set up for the south, for the main side. Now as you can see, I've got a lot of the ceiling zappers and we've got the tire traps as well, which are absolutely awesome now that they have had their buff. They work so much better than they used to. Now I did set a little bit over here in case we got a attack from this direction, but it never got attacked from that direction. They never went this way towards this amplifier. So possibly you may not need that. Just block that off some way, because you will get some spawns along this point. So some of these little walls may get destroyed in the process. It is over the last couple of days, and especially since our latest update, spawn points have changed drastically from what they were last week. They always used to be spawning directly down here, and you will get the odd few up there. But there are certain spaces which I will go through as we get to them, where they've started spawning where they never used to spawn. So I'll get to them when we get along. Now again, this bit over here was only set up in case they did go to attack the D amplifier from this direction, but they never did. So in all the runs I did, I had maybe 3 runs where I'd have a second wave coming from the south for the main storm shield, but majority of cases it was literally only the first ever one. So if they do come from the south, they will get hit by all of these, and nobody ever made it up to this point in all the runs that I done. So I left it there just in case, because if you do get in the last final wave, them coming up this way, then of course they can absolutely destroy your home storm shield. So it's a good idea to have something set up there. Now they can as well come from the west, which they will spawn from down in this point around this little dip down here, and generally all of these take them all out as well. None of this lot up there got even hit once. I did get one smasher that made it up this far, but literally he died at this last final spot, so he never even made it through that wall anyway. So again, some of this lot may not be needed, but it is there just in case. So the next wave that you generally have after you've had your main storm shield will be over at Amplifier B, and they will either come from the north or from the west. So we're going to go up over to the west first, and I will see you there in a second. Okay, so this is Amplifier B then from the west, and I did set all of this up along here like a double wall just in case they actually managed to break through, but again, luckily they never did. I would normally, I'll go back in a moment to show you the home one. I would normally place my base in this spot here, and literally I have got all of these broadsides, and I've got ceiling zappers and ceiling drop traps everywhere along here as well. Now, some waves, they will actually spawn right against these walls, so sometimes these first three front pieces, they can sometimes get destroyed, but at least they are there then just in case they don't. And again, yep, we've got our big lobber shield up here with all our ceiling traps and our zappers on, just to catch pretty much everything before they even get a chance to spawn. And yeah, most cases they will destroy everything. When you do get some later waves, they can sometimes make it up this far, especially smashers can make it up this far, but with all of these broadsides and a couple of sound walls and everything in there, then they never make it through that end piece over there. So that is our west side. So we're going to go and have a look now over at the north. Now the north, this is a bit of a nuisance spot. Now literally I don't even have any spaces left to be able to build anything at the moment. Let's have a look. Let's get rid of that for a moment. Will it let me? Come on. Okay. Well, I'm going to be changing some pieces anyway. So let me get rid of that. Come on. Let me place the structure. Eesh. Okay, right, we get rid of this one then. So, with over here, now they will spawn up on the top of this mountain. So we've got more zappers up there to catch them as they spawn. We've got this big lobber shield because the annoying lobbers, they literally will go all the way down there in some of the waves, just so they can be able to fling over to our shield, our amplifier. So I've put all that lobber shield up there, and we've got some more tire traps on this bit, and I must have forgot to put them in because I run out of space. I did have a couple of traps on there as well. Some of these will get destroyed again, but never mind, not to worry. Now this bit, I left all this bit in here from my previous attempt at the 0 damage build. So some of the floor launchers and sound walls and things will fling them up in the air a little bit. So if they do manage to get, into this spot, they don't generally make it back out again. And over this way, because they will come up here, we've got a big ramp here because there's like a void underneath this bit to get them to hopefully go into this pit here. And what I'm going to need to do, because I still can't build anything, I'm going to get round up to the top and I'll show you up the top then. Okay, now they will spawn along this little spot here as well. So I have got all of these set up with launchers, which will launch them into the pits. If they don't get hit by the launchers, then they will get hit by the broadsides. And of course, we got more ceiling zappers up here, and we got more along here as well. And I don't know what it is, says certain parts that just aren't saving, because I definitely had a ceiling zapper up there. So there's certain bits that just aren't saving on these storm shields, which is a bit annoying. But that is from that side. Now, you will get the odd few, if I just come back around this side, especially lobbers, which when they spawn, they will drop down here and they will literally walk all the way around here. So I have got a couple more traps just up the top here, just to catch any out that may actually get up that far. So that is our Amplifier B. That's the two directions. Now, let me just pop over here. I did pop in a little bit of extra trap tunnels over this direction, because not that it got used on my endurance that I completed, but there were some instances, especially when the walls were getting destroyed by the spawns just down here, that these were getting broken and the husks were actually coming down this ridge. So I added this in just to be on the safe side, just to make sure that they weren't going to get to the amplifier. And majority of the waves, I think majority of amplifiers, I did get 0 damage to them on. I did get a tiny piece of damage on here somehow from the mini boss, and I did get a tiny bit of damage, or some damage over there on later waves, but I'll show you those in a moment. So this is our next amplifier, Amplifier A. Now for this one excuse me, they will come either from the north, which they will spawn mainly up on that ridge, or they can spawn down here. So there's two different spots there. So we've got a bit of a lobber shield on this spot, but we've also got this big massive lobber shield up here as well. And they will also come from the east. So if we get up here first, now again it's not gonna let me get up there, so let me get up across there and I will see you in a second. Okay, right, so this is the big lobber shield that we have got up here. Now I didn't put any ceiling traps up here, mainly because I didn't have any building space, building slots left. As you can see, I literally cannot build another single piece. In fact, I think I'm slightly overbuilt. Now I put this sort of blockade here just to prevent them from actually going around this way, but just down here, you may not be able to see it too well, we have still got a little pit down there, and we have got a pit, where is it, under one of these, I think it's behind this wall here, that they will actually fall down into and take some damage in there, because they do tend to break on these two walls here as well. So majority when they spawn, they will either fall down and go down that way, or they will fall down here into these pits down here, which have got some launchers in. Now I'm going to come down this way, because regardless where they spawn around this point, if they spawn up on the top or if they spawn down here, the lobbers tend to like coming up this direction. So I've got a couple of launchers here and things and zappers just to prevent them from actually lingering around here, because when they do, they seem to stand right on the edge and lob towards these and just destroy all of these. So if they do spawn from over this direction, and they will come along either up here, or they will go up that side, which we'll go to in a moment, and they will come along all of these, get flung into these pits, which they will basically, in these ones, they will only take a little bit of damage. They would just keep constantly going up and down. And yeah, then they have to come around this way. The mini bosses will always try and destroy this ceiling piece here. That's why I've got a zapper there. And then they've got to come through more launchers here, which will fling them straight back down. And if they get here, then they get flung into this pit. So if they do come from down this way and they want to come up here, then they've got some more launchers here to fling them back and some more up here, and then they literally have to come through all of this. And when they get to the final tile, apart from smashers, they will then get lobbed into this big box as well. So they will start taking damage in there. So that is from the north. Now, if they do come from the east, they will generally either spawn over there, just on the edge of that wooden sort of ledge, or they can spawn on this spot here, but majority of them will spawn down here. So again, down here we've got our electric fields and our ceiling drop traps. Cannot get that word right. And a load of broadsides on the walls around here. Now, some of these bits will get destroyed when they spawn, because in some waves they will spawn at this spot here. Other waves they will spawn all the way back there. So some of them do get destroyed at certain waves, but majority of them do go okay. I've put in these little small low walls all the way up these, just to, you know, slow them down a little bit, really. And then when they do get to each spot, they will get flung into these pits, these boxes, which have got all of our traps and everything in there. So they do have to come all the way up through there. And again, they've got another one up here then that will get flung into this pit in here, and some broadside and wall launchers on here. So that is from the east. Now, I've set up my defender pads just to help with defenses and get things going. I normally put my base down at that spot there. So generally, this is kind of the order that I have found the defenses to go. It will normally be the main storm shield, then it will be the Amplifier B up there, either west or north, and then it is Amplifier A from either the north or the east. And then next wave after that is generally this one over here, which is Amplifier C, and they will either get spawn from the north in the same spots over there, or they will come from the east. Now, I don't know if you can quite see it from here, but just over there I did have to block that part out with a load of traps in there, because of all the testing I did last week was no problems. They never came up that direction, which they can come from there and they go up this little ridge to get up there. They never came from there, but today, for 3 different runs that I did, they decided they wanted to start coming up there and just falling straight down. So I had to block that off with a couple of traps, and it seems to do the job. Now, if they do come for this one from the north, then I would generally place my base down on that square, which normally sort of keeps all of this base secure. And if they do come then from the east over here, then I'll normally put my base down at this square here. So if they do come from the east, they tend mainly to go through this direction. I don't know why. I got very little that actually came through this way at all. Very little at all. Everything always seemed to want to come through this tunnel. So we got this one all set up with floor traps, wall traps and everything. They get to this spot, and if they get far enough, they will get launched into another box in there. But until later waves, they never really made it very far in here. When you start getting into sort of wave 20 odd upwards, things can start getting really manic, and yeah, they can break through. The smashers do tend to break through even at the end there. Now, if they do spawn from over this way, I did set up these few little traps in here just to catch them out, but they will, again, they will spawn at these points and up there. and they tend to mainly come along this direction. The only bit I've got extra here is just a extra little bit of traps in there in case they go that way. But again, we've got more of our launchers which will launch them into these big pits, and they normally die off in those pits. If they get up this far, then they get launched down. That wall launcher there actually will fling them into that pit, so they would just die. And this one here then just flings them back down there, which generally they'll get flung into one of those pits anyway. Now, if they happen to make it far enough, they will come this way. There's another little pit here. And the same, if they make it from over there, then they will get flung into these pits as well. Now, I don't know, again, whether spawn points have been changed on this latest update, because I used to be getting a lot of husks that would be coming down into these two pits over here. And again, today, when I'm doing my runs, I've had none whatsoever get anywhere near to any of these pits. So definitely, they're always changing the spawn points all the time. Now, on wave 9, generally, they will come and attack the Amplifier C, and this is the wave that you will get the hotspots, which are like these little lava pools which come out of the ground. And depending on where they actually appear, they can either appear on this sort of side of it, and you can even get 2 of them normally up here, which is brilliant because then it doesn't destroy any of your traps. If they're actually spawning from that direction, when you get those, then they do tend to take out all of these trap tunnels down here. They will normally get destroyed, but again, as I said, you don't really get that much problem. Now, the next wave that you will have after that, which is wave 5, is for Amplifier D here. And they will either come from the east or from the south. Majority of their times it's from the south, and this is where you will get the safe zones. Now, with the safe zones, that is where you get these 4 little additional, I don't even know exactly what they're called, but they're these 4 little shield spots where you have to try and protect them. And again, they can spawn anywhere around this spot randomly. So they quite often have been one in this spot, one over there, a few over there. They are totally random. But if they do come from the south, then they tend to spawn mainly down here. But you will get the occasional one which will spawn up here, and very annoyingly you will get 1 or 2 spawn points up on that little mountain there, which is why I have got the broadside set up there to hopefully catch any that come out. Now, I did put a few random broadsides along here because I was getting annoying issues with the lobbers literally trying to come all the way back here in order to lob over to the amplifier. So these did tend to take majority of them out, and I didn't suffer with any problems from them after that. But yeah, again, we got all the ceiling zappers, ceiling tire traps, everything set up here. We have our broadsides and our tar pits then to slow anything down that does come out, which pretty much 90% of stuff gets taken out by these ceiling zappers. So it is phenomenal the amount that these traps will do. And yeah, you very rarely need any of these floor ones, but they are there to hopefully slow down the smashers when the smashers do come. Now, I do have on this spot, I do have 2 defender pads up on the top, which hopefully will catch any random scragglers that do manage to get from that spawn point up there. And one thing I have noticed, I will place my base goes on this spot. Now, one thing I have noticed though is that the defenders now, they don't seem to target a husk you know, if you mark the husk and it puts that big skull above its head, generally it used to be that the defenders then would aim primarily at that husk and kill that husk. But I don't know whether that is a glitch or not, but they don't seem to be doing that, especially since this latest update, that they will just randomly shoot at any husk, and even if you mark one, they won't aim at them. Now, if they do come from the east, then I've got some more defender pads up here, and if we get down here, they will spawn from this spot here, anywhere along under here. So again, we've got more ceiling zappers up here. We do have some broadsides around, and we've got the launchers and things here to slow them down. You will get the occasional one which will head up that direction, which I will go to in a moment. But most of them will tend to come up through this direction here. And until later waves, sort of wave 17, something like that, they don't tend to actually make it very far up here at all. And again, that has changed since our latest update, because they were coming all the way up here and taking damage, but they're just not taking very much damage up here at all. They don't even get past that part down there anymore. But this bit is here in case we get any lobbers and flingers, and another big pit in there, because as I was saying, they will come up through this ridge. If they do break their way through there, they will come up here, but they will also come up this as well. They will come all the way up here and up this spot, which is why I have got more launchers and everything set over here. So that is pretty much the main directions that they will come from. Now, you will need to replace traps, even though things like the launchers and that have 51 uses to them, 46 uses for the electric fields, and I'm not quite sure how many my ceiling drop traps have got. They got 41. So they do tend to run out quite a bit, especially the ones on the ceilings at the spawn points. But probably I would say up until probably wave 15, maybe 14, 15, I have been able to quite successfully AFK, you know, just sit there at, you know, at the storm shield and just let it go off and do its thing. And you can generally get to probably about wave 14 or 15 before things start falling apart and failing. But if you do go along and you're replacing traps and everything, then you can definitely get through to at least wave 23, 24, something like that. I did do my full run with, of course, not shooting or killing a single husk. Even the mini bosses, when they spawned, I would use my bull rush ability and my slow field, but I didn't shoot a single husk myself. So it does make it that little bit more difficult, because when you've got the mini bosses, if you are not getting rid of the mini bosses, then they will rapidly destroy your bases and your walls and everything. So I did have a lot of rebuilding to have to do. But if you're not worried about getting, you know, a zero shooting, then yeah, take out your mini bosses, get rid of those. Probably help your defenders if you use them to get rid of smashers, because they are the worst parts. They will destroy everything. But other than that, yeah, it is pretty okay. I didn't have a full AFK, you know, endurance. As I said at the start, I did have to run along every so often and replace traps, mainly because of the mini bosses destroying everything, you know, because I wasn't getting rid of and killing the mini bosses. Then they did destroy quite a lot, so I had to run around repairing those. But yeah, you should be able to quite easily complete your endurance by following this build, and hopefully this will cover everything for you. But if there is anything that I have missed, then do let me know in the comments down below. I always try to showcase as much of the builds as I can. But yeah, that is my Canny Valley Endurance build. So I hope it does help you out. If it does, don't forget to drop a like down below, smash that subscribe before you go, and if you turn on the notification bell, then you will always get updated of all my content when it comes out. If you do buy anything from the Fortnite store, then please consider using code RiverFox, as it will help me out a great deal with upgrading my equipment. But yeah, do check out for the actual endurance run that will be coming out very soon. But until the next one, I hope you have a lovely day and stay safe, my friends.